Chapter 10 Supraconscious States of Yoga. The Alpha and the Omega of Yoga is self-realization. Yoga is the ascent of one's consciousness through ever more refined and ever more expanded spheres of mind to get to the God essence lying at the core of one's own being. Yoga is brought about and made successful by Abhyas and Vairagya. The meaning of Abhyas is to move towards the goal with intensity, towards God, unruffled by emotions or outward distractions. Vairagya means non-attachment to the objects of the five senses. Abhyas assists in the cultivation of Vairagya. On our pilgrimage to the divine, to the supraconscious states of yoga, three factors are necessary for the successful journey. They are perseverance in yoga, unruffled emotions, and reverence for the practice. The brave yogi has embarked on a journey to the Holy of Holies, from which the sacredness of all pilgrimages is derived. In the high states of yoga, he treads the sacred ground of ever more refined spheres of consciousness as he nears the temple of samadhi in which his deity is enshrined. When we consider the state of samadhi, we must be aware of the fact that this technique is not only the higher form of yoga, but its very essence. The great Rishi Vyas has stated, Yoga Samadhi, meaning yoga is samadhi. It becomes necessary to point out here that there is a widely prevalent misconception in the West regarding the nature and purpose of yoga. A person practicing asanas and postural integration to improve his health says he is practicing yoga. It's true that people in innocent ignorance vulgarize yoga, since a practice of asanas and postures does not constitute the real practice of yoga. An individual can master all the 84,000 asanas without having a ghost of an idea about the true yoga. On the other hand, a yogi can practice the real yoga of samadhi without doing any asanas. So the physical postures alone only qualify a student to say he practices asanas to prepare for yoga. Another widely held and prevalent misconception is the one about diet. It's true that we need pure and sattvic food to put the body into the required state of harmony for the practice of yoga. Many people in India habitually live on a diet of rice, curds, vegetables and fruits, which are sattvic. So they might as well claim that they are practicing yoga through diet. This is not the complete picture. The proper understanding is that both postures and diet are supportive to attaining the supraconscious states of yoga, but do not in themselves constitute yoga proper. There is no doubt that samadhi, the supraconscious states, are the essential pathways of peace and yoga. They must be practiced with proper preparation and prolonged graduated training. There are a number of scientific techniques integrated into a systematic but elastic course of discipline. The serious student of yoga should follow these time-tried methods with the determination to reach the goal, no matter what the temporary difficulties encountered or the number of lives it may take to reach the final moksha. This is not to be confused with easy shortcut methods given by pseudo-yoga teachers to attract huge masses of followers. One of the most critical factors to be cautious of is to know the difference between the psychic state of trance and the enlightened state of samadhi. When a person emerges from the supraconscious state of samadhi, he is aglow with the wisdom of the gods, for he has touched the feet of the Lord, his Paramatma. When a person comes out of a trance induced by other methods, he goes to the lower mental and astral planes without receiving any knowledge. He is the same as he was before. In the 19th and 20th centuries, when yoga was introduced to the West, for lack of a better word, trance was used to explain samadhi. This led to a lot of confusion because all psychics in trance were happy to be co-equal to the Buddha. But later they were put in their proper places when their psychic state of trance was explained to them. Patanjali's Raj Yoga and Babaji's Kriya Yoga. Everything comes to him who makes the utmost effort under the circumstances in which he has been placed. As Reeth, the underlying order of the unfolding universe, brings to each individual. The external yoga consists of yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, and pratyahar. Their function is to prepare the yogi for the internal yoga, which deals with the mind and comprises three techniques: dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Number 1. Yam deals with the elimination of lower desires and emotions. It exercises moral precepts such as non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, sexual abstinence, and non-attachment. 2. Niyam provides the disciplined ground for yoga. This builds character, so essential for success in yoga. The 5 virtues to be practiced are purity in body and thought, contentment, self-discipline, tap, meditation, swadhyay, and surrender to one's divine indweller, Ishwar Pranidhan. 3. Asana, postural integration, eliminates disturbance to the mind caused by the body by making the body a fit instrument to progress in yoga. 4. Pranayam, life force control, eliminates disturbances caused by the 3 humors in the pranic body, gives control of the currents of pran and apan, which automatically makes pratyahar happen. 5. Pratyahar, reversal of the life force energy pran, eliminates disturbances coming through the sense organs by introverting the pran in the spine, which gets magnetized, cutting off the 5 sense telephones from external objects. A yogi in pratyahar is like a tortoise retracting its limbs into its shell. Reference Goraksha Paddhati, chapter 2, verse 24. 6. Dharana, concentration. With the mind left alone, undisturbed by outer distractions, yet filled with desires and their stored impressions, it becomes necessary to eliminate them by concentration. The merger of concentration into meditation is as natural as the flower becoming the fruit. 7. Dhyan, meditation. As the conscious state of meditation becomes more and more refined, the desires and their stored impressions, meaning sanskars, weaken and lose their hold. Then a flowing state of awareness dawns that gradually transforms into expanded states of samadhi. 8. Samadhi, supraconscious states of awareness. They are broadly sampradnyat samadhi, asampradnyat samadhi, nirbij samadhi, and dharmameg samadhi. Then the yogi's consciousness expands into the truth of his infinite self called Niranjan Nirvan, Brahma Nirvan, or Kaivalya. All mean the same. The process of dharana, dhyan and samadhi flow and flower into one another. These are three continuing stages of the same mental process. They differ in degree and not in kind. The fusion of the three phases in their totality is called samyam, meaning becoming the object. When a yogi takes an object in manifestation and applies dharana, dhyan and samadhi to it, until the reality hidden within the object is revealed, he is said to have performed samyam. Kriya Yoga, a pranapan yagya. This is the sacred fire ceremony of the yogi, whereby he offers the oblations of pranic breath into apanic breath and vice versa, to equalize the two life currents and enter the state of Kevali Samadhi. There never has been, nor will be a time when man's own nature shall cease to demand his best and foremost attention. The science of yoga commends itself to the foremost minds of East and West. So vital is this inner science for the evolution of consciousness that besides it, the greatest of human achievements pale into insignificance. The science of Kriya Yoga Pranayam offers the inhaled pranic breath into the exhaled apanic breath and vice versa. By this process, the yogi neutralizes the two life currents of pran and apan. This results in the arresting of decay and growth in the body. This is done by rejuvenating the blood and body cells with life energy called pran that has been distilled from the breath and moved into the spine and the brain. The Kriya Yogi arrests all bodily decay, thereby quieting the breath and heart. This renders the purifying action of the breath and heart unnecessary as they gradually slow down through persevering practice. The Bhagavad Gita mentions this science of Kriya Yoga in chapter 4, verse 29. The Kriya Yoga Pranayam, called the Pranapanic fire rite by the yogis, teaches man to untie the cord of breath that binds our soul to the bodily cage. The soul is then released to fly and expand into the superconscious skies of omnipresent spirit and come back at will into the little body cage. No flight of fancy is this, but a true experiencing of divine bliss. Pranayam is derived from its Sanskrit roots, pran, meaning life, and ayam means control. So pranayam is therefore life control and not breath control. In the larger sense, the whole world is filled with the universal life force energy called pran. Everything is a differentiation of the modes of expression of this universal force. Therefore, universal pran is para prakriti, pure nature. This eminent energy is derived from the infinite spirit and permeates and sustains the universe. Individual pran is an intelligent force, but has no consciousness in the empirical or transcendental sense. The soul is the conscious unit and pran is its basis. The consciousness through mind-ego dictates terms and pran follows the dictate. Neither grossly material nor purely spiritual, pran borrows from the soul its power of activating the body. There are two main life currents in the body. One is that of pran, which flows from the coccyx to the point between the eyebrows. The nature of this life current is soothing. It introverts the devotee's attention during sleep and the wakeful state, and in meditation unites the soul with the spirit in the third ventricle of the brain called the Shivanetra or third eye. The other main current is that of Apan, which flows from the third eye to the coccyx. This downward flowing extroverted current distributes itself through the coccyx center to the motor sensory nerves. It keeps man's consciousness delusively tied to the body. The Apan current is restless and engrosses man in sensory experiences. Quote from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 46. Greater is the yogi than body-disciplining ascetics, greater even than the followers of wisdom's path, greater than the path of action. Be thou, Arjun, a yogi. Kriya Yoga Pranayam arrests bodily decay, connected with Apan, manifesting in the exhaled breath by fresh inhalations of life force, pran, distilled from the inhaled breath. This pran enables the devotee to do away with the illusion of decay and mutation. He then realizes that his body is made of life-trons, of congealed light. The body of the Kriya Yogi is recharged with extra energy distilled from the breath and energized by the tremendous dynamo of energy generated in the spine. The decay of body tissues decreases. This ultimately makes unnecessary the blood cleansing function of the heart. The heart pump becomes quiet owing to the non-pumping of venous blood, and exhalation and inhalation of breath are evened out. The life energy unites in the current in the spine. The light of pure pran scintillates from the 6 chakras to all the bodily cells, keeping them in a spiritually magnetized condition. Kriya Yoga is referred to obliquely in yoga treatises as Kevali Pranayam or Kevali Kumbhak. This is the true pranayam that has transcended the necessity for inhalation Purak and exhalation Rechak. Breath is transmitted into inner life force currents under the complete control of the mind. When the breath stops effortlessly without either Rechak or Purak, that is Kevali Kumbhak. Quote the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, chapter 2, verse 73. Of the various stages of pranayam, such as breathlessness, Kevali is extolled by the adept yogis as the best or highest. Remember, the Kriya Yoga is not breath control, but life force control. When one gets to an advanced stage of Shiva Shakti Kriya, the breath ceases. Duly, the cold ascendic pranic current and the warm descending apanic current are felt flowing in the Sushumna Nadi, that is the spinal cord. This is an avastha or state of Kevali Kumbhak. Though in principle it may be equated with Kriya Yoga, Kevali Pranayam is not as explicit or as specific as Kriya Yoga science and techniques expounded by Shiv Goraksha Babaji. The Lord surrounded man's soul first with an idea body. Then he encased the idea body with a very subtle light, the astral body. The third or final encasement was the electro-atomic dream body, the illusion of a fleshy form. Quote the Gita, page 306, volume 1. Paramahansa Yogananda. The Bhagavad Gita advises us to practice pranayam, life force control, to enable us to realize that we are not made of flesh, but of life force condensed from the thought of God. Kriya is a process of converting breath into life force and realizing the body as light. By the perfect performance of Kriya, 1728 times in one posture, that is at one time, and by practicing a total of 20,736 Kriyas, a devotee can reach a state of samadhi, God contact. But Kriya cannot be practiced so many times by a beginner. When the body and mind of the yogi are prepared to accommodate the high voltage of so much Kriya Yoga, his guru will advise him that he is ready for the experience of samadhi. If the kriyas are broken into several sittings, there is no harm. It will just take longer. Kundalini Kriya Yoga. Kundalini is the electromagnetic pranic energy, which means coiled spiral, and stems from an earlier root, kund, meaning fire pit. It is coiled 3.5 times around the base of the spine. Kundalini is represented by a cobra snake and can move a yogi from static state to kinetic activation in a split second. The Kundalini is intensified spiritual pran. If the pranic energy is the atomic bomb, the voltage of the Kundalini energy benefits the guided yogi like the hydrogen bomb. This awakened Kundalini is one of the most potent boosts for any spiritual practitioner. The Kundalini Shakti is activated and awakened during the Kriya Yoga Pranayam, which I call the Kundalini breath or Kundalini Kriya Yoga. It is hidden and latent within all human beings in their nervous system. When the Kriya Yoga Pranayam is performed as per the Sadguru's guidance, the pranic life force in your spinal cord builds up to generate a great spiritual magnetism and voltage. By the ceaseless movement of the Kriya life force breath, one's pran, breath, vital fluid and mind become one to form the evolutionary life force energy called Kundalini. According to the Nath tradition in India, the Kundalini is revered as the Divine Virgin, the consort, the divorcee, and the widow, all in one. She is the universal life force of sustenance and evolution. At the base of the spine, the sleeping beauty, Shakti, awaits her Lord Charming Shiva's kiss of consciousness, which releases her to ascend up the spine and unite with him in holy communion at the 1,000-petaled lotus. Shakti, Kundalini, is the bride Cinderella, the lady of the cinders, whom when fanned by the alchemical fire of Shiva Shakti Kriya, ignites as Kundalini, blazing up the chimney of the spine, Sushumna, to unite with the immortal Lord Shiva in the crown chakra.